Hi everyone, Professor Dingman here, and what we're going to do in this video is go over some of the basics of summarizing. Okay, so let's go ahead and share my screen. So, put this in student view. All right, so part of your reading strategies for reading strategy number 3 is summarizing. So the reading for reading strategy number 3 is brainology. So you're going to be reading brainology, answering those reading strategy questions, and then composing an actual one-page summary of brainology. And we're doing this so that you can get some practice summarizing because we will be doing summarizing in essay number 1. And as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, if you end up choosing brainology as the core text for essay 1, then your summary is going to be done for you because you will have already completed it for this assignment. And I let you reuse those types of things in essays. Okay, so what we want to do is start off with our directions, right? You're going to be writing a one-page summary of the text that explains the main idea and how the author supports the main idea, right? That's what a summary does. And it should be written so someone who has not read this text and who's not in this class can understand it. And you should also be using, as I have here, 2 direct quotations with citations. And this summary must also follow MLA formatting, okay, so that you'll have to upload your summary as a Word document or upload your summary using Google Docs, okay, so that way it's in the proper formatting too. Okay, so I do have some notes here on writing a summary, both a more detailed explanation and some tips on summarizing from UCLA and from UNC Chapel Hill. So I want to go over that. We'll go over the UCLA one first. It gives us a very quick kind of explanation of what it is to summarize, which is, right, when you're summarizing, you're putting things in your own words, and that's one of the first tips here. And you want to make sure you're giving your reader all the main ideas in that article or book chapter or whatever it is that you're summarizing. You want to make sure you include all those big main ideas while not including like all the little teeny tiny details because they sort of get in the way and we don't need them, right? The one thing that they put here that I do want to make sure we focus on is this does not include your interpretation, your analysis, your commentary, your opinion on the text, okay? A summary is supposed to be objective, third person. You're merely explaining what the article or book chapter or whatever it is about. You're not putting in your own opinions or input or analysis or commentary, okay? And you want to make sure you're using attribution signals, which is things like, according to the author or according to Dweck or Pink says or Professor Price states, right? We want to use those little attributions. And then you always want to make sure you're including a citation. Make sure you cite your source in the parenthetical citations and also in the works cited page, okay? The page from UNC gives very similar advice, all right? And it kind of goes over, is summary a bad thing? No, not necessarily. It's a bad thing if your professor is asking for an analysis and what you turn in a summary, right? But summary can actually be necessary, like it is for our essay. Our essay is asking you to explain to your audience how a certain concept has impacted your learning. Well, if they don't know what that concept is or what's it about, then they don't know how to make those connections and really understand what you're saying about your own learning, okay? And then also, like in other essays, we're going to be talking about a murder case in essay 2, and we're going to be looking at problems in the prison system in essay 3, the orange is the new black. Those two require summary. You're going to have to explain what that murder case was about in essay 2 before you get into the argument about it. And in essay 3, you're going to have to give us some summary of orange is the new black and some background summary of what your key prison or criminal justice problem is. So it's something that we're going to be using throughout the semester, okay? So summarizing, right, also can use these phrases like this article is about, this essay is about, and this is the one time I'll let you use announcing is in topic sentences for summaries, all right, because it's not a thesis and it's not analytical, so we can do a little bit of announcing here. But right, for your summaries, we want to make sure that they are, as this will put for us, bring up this document. Our summaries should be independent, concise, coherent, and let's get into it. Right, comprehensive. So we have comprehensive, meaning it covers the whole article or whole chapter from beginning to end. Those big ideas, not every little tiny detail, but big ideas. It must be concise, which means, right, don't include all those little deals. Stick to the little details. Stick to the big details. We don't want to include that little stuff when we're trying to give the main points. The summary should be shorter than the original article or chapter. A summary must be coherent, which means it has to make sense. Even though you're chopping up an article and only giving the main ideas, it still has to make sense. And lastly, it should be independent. Okay, it should be your own writing, your own words, not you just simply hitting right-click, thesaurus, choose word, insert another word, right? You want to restate things in your own phrasing. And then here are some tips, right? For longer summaries, you're going to want to write sentences for each paragraph, right? Or for shorter summaries, for longer text, where it's like 11 pages or more, you're going to want to kind of break it into sections and try to write 1 or 2 sentence summaries for each of those sections, and then you can try to string those together. Those are just a couple of things to note about summarizing, okay? It's supposed to be your own voice. You want to give all the major ideas, and it should not include any of your opinions, all right? Let's go ahead and pause this for one moment. Okay. Okay, so let's jump right back in here because I want to go quickly over the MLA stuff. So when you are doing in-text citations, and so this is the student summary. When you are doing in-text citations, it's pretty simple for MLA. MLA does not like a whole bunch of clutter. So when you're writing a direct quotations, and for your summary, you should have 2 direct quotations, you put a parenthetical citation at the end of your quotation. And what goes in that parenthetical citation depends on what you have said before. So if you mention the author's name in a signal phrase, like this student has done here, all right, where she says, Dweck explained students with, quote, the belief that intelligence is fixed, dampened students' motivation to learn, made them afraid of effort, and made them want to quit after a setback. Because she mentions Dweck's name here, she doesn't put it in the citation there. It's just the page number from the article, okay? You see the same thing with the second one. Dweck says, therefore she doesn't put it in the citation. Dweck's explanation, therefore it doesn't appear in the citation. Okay, now on the other hand, this citation down here, we see where she writes, unlike a fixed mindset, people with growth mindsets care about the actual learning experience. When faced with a setback in school, the student with growth mindsets, quote, would simply study more or study differently next time, end quote. And we see in her citation this time, it says Dweck 2. And that's because there was no signal phrase that mentioned the author's last name. Notice what goes in these parenthetical citations. When there's no author's name, it's just literally the page number. When they do need to include the author's name in the citation, note that it is literally just the author's last name and the page number. No commas, no dashes, no slashes, no hashtags, no P, no PG, no period, none of it. Nothing goes in there, okay? And the period, if it's at the end of the sentence, the period goes on the outside here. Note, we don't double up. We don't put a period here at the end of the sentence and a period at the end of the citation, okay? I know you've been taught to put periods at the end of sentences, but we include the citation as part of the sentence. So it goes here at the end of the true sentence, which is at the end of the citation, okay? So make sure you are including proper citations. Last name and page number if there's no signal phrase, or just the page number if there is the signal phrase that makes it clear you're talking in the author's words. All right. So this is what you're doing for your summary assignment for Brainology. Okay. And remember, as long as it meets the criteria here, which is it shows that you've understood the text, right? That you understand how to complete summarizing based on those brief articles that I've explained in this video. And you're trying to do proper MLA, proper citations, and you're checking for complete sentences with basic kind of grammar. You're going to get full credit, all right? I'll give you feedback and let you know what you're doing that's working and what you're doing that you need to improve. Okay, so if you have any questions or need any help, of course, you can always reach out to me and to our tutors, and I'll see you soon.